I love my job. This is fun. Absolutely one of the best things you can do with your pants on. Like I always say. Are you wearing your pants? Yeah, you're still wearing your pants.
At least for now.
Yeah, at least.
Cut that out.
No, that's the intro of this video. That is the intro. This is why we do this. Today was a little bit of an this kind of an editorial photography practice. I did some school projects and I invited Maddie here, of course, because he's a handsome dude, to be the model for my photos. And yeah, what did we get? Did we get some muscle there? Can you show some of that muscle action? That's what we've been shooting. And did we have a good time?
We had a great time. I mean, like, I don't think I've laughed so much in a photo shoot in a long time.
Yeah. That's it. That's always a good time. I was all the time like, God damn it, that is a good shot.
And I mean, like, it was really professional, like the first hour.
Yeah, for first 15 minutes.
15 minutes. And then it kind of like...
Yeah, just broke loose. Just
yeah, the ideas just went...
Yeah. The execution of the ideas went like, whoop. But the ideas were like, they went like pretty much down, you know. It was not that good anymore. But, yeah. I was shooting with the R7 today. I tested out the 50mm f1.2 from Maddie. So
what did you like the 50mm?
The 50mm, I really love that. Well, I was not able to shoot it at f1.2. That was like with all the lights, everything. I can't tone these down enough because they're so bright. But even if I was shooting at f1.8 at f2. The background is so smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, the separation between you were standing like right here. It's about, what should I say? Is that 10 feet? About, yeah, into the background. And that background in those photos, it's so smooth. And everything in it, it's a marvelous piece of glass.
Yeah, I think that must be my favorite glass of all time.
Yeah, I don't wonder why.
I almost never take it off from my camera. It stays on like 70% of the time.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because you're shooting full frame, I'm shooting crop frame. And when I started out on photography, I was shooting with, I think it was Nikon D50, you know, it's a crop frame camera. I was shooting with 50mm all the time. 50mm f1.8. It just practically lived on my camera. So it was kind of fun when I put your lens, that 50mm on R7, I was like, it felt like coming back home, you know, because I had that, you know, that one focal length, especially when it's, you know, when I have the crop factor in it, it makes it like, what does it make, like 75mm, something like almost 80mm?
Yeah, it's like 80mm.
It felt like coming back home, shooting with that lens. I knew it. I knew exactly what to expect.
And you like 85mm?
Yeah, I do.
Right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
85mm on a full frame must be one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah, that's great.
And you know, 50mm on a crop frame, it makes it around 80mm. So
yeah.
One of the best focal lengths. When I put that on, I started getting, you know, I was like lying down there on the floor and taking photos that, oh, this is looking so good. This is like, and I was like so excited about that. And it's crazy what lenses can do when you have accustomed and you're familiarized with that focal length. That is what happens.
Yeah, and I think that like 50mm is a great lens, even if you're shooting crop, it's great. It's like close to 85, it's a great lens. And full frame 50, it's like the one and done. It's so versatile.
Yeah.
Like it's wide enough for most situations.
Yeah.
Like you can take landscape photos with this.
Yeah.
You can take product photos. You can take portraits.
Yeah.
You can take street photos.
Yeah, and you can do that everyday life stuff, you know, just documenting your life. You can do that with 50, easy. But when we go back to the gear, somebody over there is starting photography. He's starting to do photography as a hobby.
Yeah.
Which way would you go? Because there are two options that you can go with your gear. You can either dip your toes in a little bit, buy a little bit cheaper camera bodies, a little bit cheaper lenses, and then, you know, work your way up, buying a little bit more expensive stuff. Or would you recommend more that this kind of, you know, buy once, shame once kind of a mindset? Because I know that you have been there and I have been there. And we have both done it in the same way.
Yeah.
And our way was to, well, you can explain it.
Yeah, well, I think that Timo has this same story, but when I started out, I kind of tipped my toes.
Yeah.
And I bought like the cheapest. Well, it wasn't the cheapest, but it wasn't like a good one. It was mid-priced. It was the Canon M50, and then like the kit lens. And then
15 to 45 or something. You know, that kind of.
15 to 45.
Yeah.
And I never used the kit lens, even when I was just starting out. I just hated that lens. It was so bad.
And then you just started taking photos, and then you noticed that okay, these are not exact. I'm not getting what I want.
Yeah, but the 50mm was so much better. I always used that.
Yeah,
lens.
and then we come back to the 50mm.
I started with that, and I love it.
Even now. Yeah. Because it teaches you so much about photography, about composing your shots, about taking your photos. It teaches you so much because you only have that one focal length, and you really have to position yourself to take the shot and take some time to take the shot. I believe that we both can agree on that if somebody would be starting out with photography right now, we would both give the same advice that, okay, spend a bit more money, buy good gear, because when you buy gear that's too cheap and doesn't get the job done, that is when the inspiration and the motivation for photography, which is an amazing hobby once you get it done, once you start doing it. But if the cheap gear that you're going to buy, the cheap gear that you're going to save a little bit of money on, if that starts to affect your inspiration because you can't do the things that you want to do with your camera, then it starts to demotivate you. And that is something that we don't want for a photographer who's starting out, because when it comes to photography, when it comes to creating content, making YouTube videos, motivation and inspiration is like everything. Yeah. If you don't have the motivation to go out and shoot, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The only reason why I would recommend to go like on a low budget is that if you actually don't know if you're gonna like it or not, if you're like unsure, then maybe. But even then,
I'd recommend to borrow a borrowed better camera, to borrow a better camera from someone, take a loaner, test it out, or something like, you know. But I still would not buy a cheaper camera because it just kills the motivation. Yeah, that is. I usually always think that, okay, gear doesn't matter, but when it comes to inspiration and getting the job done and doing what you want, then it matters. Yeah. And even though you would be buying more expensive gear as a starter, you spend like $2,000 on a camera body and let's say $1,000 on a lens. That's like $3,000. It seems expensive, but when you buy that good stuff once, you can always sell it with a good price. Exactly. If you don't like it.
If you buy like the kit lenses, it still costs some money.
Yeah.
But no one buys them.
Yeah, you cannot sell it.
Yeah. Like no one buys those kit lenses. Yeah. Or if someone does, they are like taking it half free. I recommend that if you don't have the budget to buy better gear, then just buy the 50mm and buy some used body that is maybe a bit better. Yeah. Like today, I wouldn't recommend a camera body under like 600 or 700. Yeah. Because I think that when you start to go below 600 bucks, then
they're not good.
They are not good, and then you can just
use your phone. Phone. That is like one of the best tools you can take photos with. Yeah. It's always in your pocket. I mean, this thing. Look at this thing. You don't carry this around in your pocket. No. You need a bag to carry this. And you really have to be determined to carry this around if you're going to start photography. Yeah. And when it comes to camera gear and when it comes to starting a photography as a hobby, don't start it lightly. I have to say that, okay, spend a little bit more money than what you're expecting to spend on it.
Because, at least prepare to spend. Yeah. Go like plus 25%.
Yeah,
what
always,
you think.
Always. Use your phone while you are thinking about, do you like photography, like making videos, and save the money for the camera so that you can buy a decent camera and a decent gear once you start out using these. Yeah. Because I don't want you guys to be ending up in the situation that I have done, that he has done. Yeah, that we have been buying cheap. We've been skimming down the costs. I can manage with this. I can do it with this. This is good enough for me. That's like bullshit. Yeah. It always goes the other way. If you buy too cheap, you are gonna notice it. It's gonna demotivate you. It's gonna bring down your inspiration for photography. And in the end, you are gonna end up paying more because you bought cheap first and expensive later.
Yeah, and you have to sell those.
Yeah,
and you always lose money.
Yeah, always lose money with that. When you're trying to sell stuff to somebody else, you're always gonna lose money. So, of course, when you're buying stuff, when you're buying gear for photography, you need to think that, okay, I'm buying this gear for a certain use.
Yeah.
And if you cannot use that gear, if you're gonna buy a huge amount of gear and you cannot use that outside in the elements, then what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Doubling back when it comes to buying gear, spend a bit more money, save some money first. Don't buy on credit. Don't do that.
Yeah. Don't get into debt.
Don't get into debt. Save a bit more money than what you were expecting to spend on the camera gear, and buy a decent setup that does not demotivate you in the first corner, so that you don't go like, okay, my camera can't do this. My camera can't do what I want it to do.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and as I think it was like Tech Gear Talk channel on YouTube said that buy it nice or buy it twice.
Yeah, buy it nice or buy it twice. It's better to buy a good one once and not feel ashamed than buying, bullshit twice or 3 times or 4 times and spend more money on that cheap shit. And then after all, buying all that cheaper stuff, you will still have to buy the expensive one to be happy.
Yeah. So. And I had tons of lenses. When I started out, I had tons of lenses. I had probably 6 or 7 lenses.
Yeah.
And they were almost all third party because they had all of those fast aperture lenses. But then, as time went by, I realized that there were always kind of those small little problems that occurred. Yeah. And then I just went fuck it.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah.
I will beep it out. Go ahead.
Fuck.
Beep. Missed it.
And then I just sold almost every single third-party lens except one that is actually now broken.
Yeah.
And then I just bought a full series of Canon L series for the RF mount.
Yeah. And have you been looking back?
No.
No.
I think that less is more because now I have the modified Trinity lenses.
Yeah.
The 15 to 35.
Yeah. Then
this 50 and then 70 to 200 and the 100mm macro.
Yeah.
And there has been no situation that those lenses cannot do.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're going shooting the moon.
Yeah.
Then the 200 is quite short. Yeah. But do I make money of shooting moons? No.
Yeah.
Do I need it? It's fun to have something 800 millimeter, but
400 to 800.
Yeah.
It's fun to have, but you're not gonna need it unless you are, a wildlife photographer.
Yeah, then
you don't
it's
need that.
yeah.
But then if you are a wildlife photographer, then you can skim the money down on buying the 15 to 35 because you're most likely not gonna need it.
Yeah, and also this tip goes for professionals and also for beginners alike. You should know and really think that is some kind of gear something that you really want or you need.
Yeah.
Because there's a big difference for something that you want or what you need. And
be fast, we're running out of battery.
Yeah.
Running on fumes.
Yeah. So I think that this really wraps it up.
Yeah.
So
don't buy stuff just because you want. Buy it for the need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the way to go.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for visiting. It was a fun day.
It was a fun day.
Let's do this again. He's gonna come back. Comment down below if you want Maddie to come back on this channel because I like him. He's a cool guy.
Thanks.
We don't hang around enough.
Yeah, we don't. Even though we live in the same city.
We live 2 miles apart, and we never get to see that. Yeah. But thanks so much for watching. It was a fun one. It was a pleasure. It was a hoot. It was a great day here at studio, Cross Media Studio.
Cross Media Studio.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
Yeah.
Sounds so good.
Yeah.
I'm out. Peace.
I'm out. Yeah. Peace.
It was nice before you touched it. What did you do to it? I mean, when you compare it to your biceps, it's about the same size.
It's even bigger than.
Yeah.
It's even bigger than my bicep.
Yeah, I gotta hit the gym.
Yeah, you definitely gonna hit the gym.
I went to the gym once. Coffee was good.